March 6, 2017. My name is Bill McCamley. I'm a state representative from Las Cruces and Mesilla with your legislative update for the day. We are 11 days left in the session, and days are starting to get long. Most of us got in between 8 and 9 today, and it's now 11:18 in the evening. So, yeah, this is when it starts to get a little tiring and testy, but we're trying to work through it and do the job we were sent up here by you all to do. So today I have about 4 or 5 things I want to talk about. In the Senate, they passed House Bill 241. This is called the Teachers Are Human Too bill, that allows for teachers to actually have some sick days that don't count for their teacher evaluations. We've heard a lot of stories about teachers who will come in and, throwing up into trash cans and wearing adult diapers because they're sick, because they don't want to really hurt their evaluations. And you may say, well, the portion of that evaluation that it revolves around absences is very low, but it's the only thing a teacher can directly control. So this is a bipartisan bill, Democrats and Republicans, passed out with a lot of support in the House and the Senate. It goes to the governor, and we hope she signs it. She has 3 days to do so. If not, we have a chance to maybe override a veto. So we'll see what happens. On the House side, there were 2 bills I want to talk about. The biggest one for me was a bill to assure that health coverage in New Mexico covers contraception. This is currently the federal law under Obamacare. However, we don't know what's going to happen at the federal level now that Republicans are in charge in Congress and the White House and have promised to repeal Obamacare and just release their plan today. And if you look at contraception, access to that is basically the number one thing that is responsible for taking down the wage gap between women and men. So if women have control over their reproductive lives, then they can control their financial lives. And that's what we want. We want economic development, and we want equality between the sexes. And so we passed that bill at the House. It now goes over to the Senate, and I hope it passes. We also passed my memorial, HJM 12, which is to study how we might rework our higher education system here in the state. And we've got all sorts of higher ed institutions. We've got 17 different bureaucracies. Other states do it differently, and they might be more efficient. So the Albuquerque Journal, actually, the last couple of days on their front pages have had a real good series of stories about the fact that we have more institutions but less students. And that means a lot of times higher tuitions. Maybe students aren't getting the education that they need to get in terms of focus. And so really going to talk about that. Hope that goes through. And the Higher Education Secretary has agreed to do this. And it's probably something I'm going to be fairly involved with in the summer. In our committee, the big issue was we had 2 bills, and this happens a fair amount here, where you have 2 bills that are doing a lot of the same thing, and you don't want to allow, and this is one of my responsibilities as a committee chair, you don't want to allow both of those to go to the Senate floor, or the House floor, excuse me. Your job in a committee is to try to figure out either pass one or pass the other, or try to combine them both together. And so that's what we did today. We asked the 2 sponsors of the bill, different bills, Bobby Gonzalez from Taos and Nathan Small from Las Cruces, to see if they can negotiate and figure out the differences in their different bills. So this biofuel bill, for instance, requires a certain amount of state vehicles to use 10% for diesel vehicles, 10% of their fuel needs to be biodiesel. So the oil and gas lobby really wants to do 2 things. They want to make it so that the aggregate is a different kind of formula between the biofuel and the actual petrochemical regular diesel fuel. And they want to lower it from doing all year that they have these requirements to only 6 months. Now, the argument is in the wintertime, apparently there's some arguments out there that the biofuel actually freezes and that hurts the amount of efficiency you have in your vehicles and sometimes slows them down. My problem with that is with climate change, and we see it happening all over the place. I don't think we should be lowering standards that get us away from fossil fuel use. We should be kind of moving in the direction of more renewable energy and things that don't put carbon in the environment as much as we can. So hopefully they'll be able to figure it out, and we'll come up with something that everyone can live with, get it out of our committee, and do something good. So as always, I appreciate you taking the time to watch this, and I'd love to try to answer any questions, comments, or concerns you all have. Thanks a lot, and hope everyone's having a great day. We'll be back at you tomorrow.